Preparing a deal sheet is the next step once you've accepted an offer as an agent-assisted FSBO seller. Completing an inaccurate or incomplete deal sheet is the easiest way to delay or derail your sale. To download a deal sheet template, visit www.hauseit.com. Here's how you complete a real estate deal sheet. At the top, include your home address, including the city and zip code as well as today's date. Include the full name and contact details of the buyer and seller. If there are multiple buyers, it's important to include all names that your counterparty would like to include on the sale contract. If you don't have the buyer's social security number, you can simply write "on file with attorney" in that section. Provide the full contact information of both the buyer's and seller's attorney. It's especially important to include an accurate email address for both lawyers, as they'll receive your deal sheet via email. It's also a good idea to provide the cell phone or extension of the attorneys. Including a generic front desk line for an attorney will make him or her harder to contact and thereby delay your pathway towards the signed contract. If there's no buyer's broker on your deal, simply enter NA in the relevant cells on the deal sheet. If there is a buyer's agent, make sure you include their license information. The easiest way to find this out is to simply paste the buyer's broker section of the deal sheet into an email, send it to the buyer's agent, and ask them to fill it out. If you're selling an apartment, you must include accurate contact details for your building's managing agent. This includes an email address and direct phone number or extension of the transfer agent. The transfer agent is a dedicated individual at the managing agent who handles resales. The next step is to include the full deal terms of your proposed sale. Here's how you fill out each cell. Purchase price is the agreed upon sale price of the deal. Closing date should be listed as ASAP unless you've negotiated with the buyer for a specific closing date. This is also the section where you would indicate the details of a sale leaseback if you've negotiated this arrangement with the seller. A sale leaseback is also called a post-closing possession agreement. You should include the length of the post-possession occupancy, the cost of the post-closing occupancy, the escrow amount, and the holdover fee. In the financing field, indicate what percentage of the deal is being financed. For example, if the buyer is putting down 25%, you should write the following: 75% financing, 25% down. The contingencies field is where you would include information about a mortgage contingency, if the buyer has requested one. There are many types of contingencies aside from a generic mortgage contingency, which include a Hubbard contingency, appraisal contingency, and a funding contingency. To learn more about common real estate contingencies in New York City, visit our blog at www.hauseit.com/blog. The exclusion and inclusions field is where you list any other terms you've agreed with the buyer in regard to fixtures or other items of furniture in the property. Here's an example. Inclusions: 2 flat screen TVs, 2 window air conditioners, living room sofa, all as is, but in working order on the day of closing. In the commission field, please indicate the buyer agent commission you've offered if there's a buyer broker on the deal. Here's an example. 3% to ABC Brokerage LLC. If your buyer's unrepresented, simply list NA in this field. Please specify your building's flip tax in the flip tax cell, if there is one. If you're unsure about the exact flip tax, it's a good idea to write "to be confirmed by attorney." Here's an example of what to include in this field. 3% of sale price, seller pays, dash, TBC by attorney. If you haven't already disclosed your building's flip tax to the buyer at this stage, we strongly encourage you to have this conversation with them before moving forward. If you're selling a co-op, indicate the number of shares in the share cell. You may delete this row entirely if you're selling a condo or house. Please specify your unit's monthly maintenance or common charge figure in the monthly maintenance/common charges field. Here's an example. Common charges, $583.54 a month. For the monthly taxes field, please include the most up-to-date figure from the Department of Finance. If the monthly real estate taxes figures you included on your listing was outdated or incorrect, you must discuss this with the buyer before moving forward. If you're selling a co-op, you may delete the taxes row since it's not applicable. If your home has an assessment, you must specify the amount of any assessments as well as the duration. Here's an example. Roof repair assessment, $350 a month through July 2023. Assessment information should always be disclosed on your listing, so if you did not disclose it before, you must share it with the buyer at this stage before moving forward. Once your deal sheet is complete, we suggest you save it as a one-page PDF file. The deal sheet should be circulated to both attorneys and the buyer's agent, if there is one. Here's what the deal sheet email looks like. Subject: Deal sheet, 230 Elizabeth Street, Apartment 3, Barnum to Roy. Barnum and Roy are the last names of the seller and buyer, respectively. Body: Hi Robert and John. Kindly find enclosed a deal sheet for the proposed sale of 230 Elizabeth Street, Apartment 3, from Barnum to Roy. Can you both kindly confirm receipt? Once both attorneys confirm receipt of the deal sheet, you should email all due diligence documents to the buyer's attorney. This includes the offering plan and the last 2 years of financials. You should share any other building documentation you have with the buyer's attorney and buyer's broker, if there is one. These documents include the purchase application, sublet application, house rules, alteration agreement, and decorative rider. You can also share the annual tax deduction letter if you're selling a co-op. More questions? Ask the community and Hauseit's forum, where buyers, sellers, and New York real estate professionals come together to discuss the toughest questions in real estate.